Boom, we are live. Century 21 preferred. Everybody's doing well. I know it's tough to get some feedback. If you want to share your cameras, that's all good too. We don't mind seeing your lovely faces. It's kind of lonely in this room by myself. But as you can see on the screen there, it says, no one plans to fail. They just fail to what? Plan. They fail to plan. And this is so true in so many different aspects of everyone's life. And we're talking specifically today, of course, of our real estate business, right? Now, at the beginning of the year, we had a class and we talked about, kind of structuring our business. What do we want that to look like, and setting some goals. So the first thing I want to talk about, I want to ask is, how many of us, yes, we'll start there. How many of us had goals that we set for the beginning of the year? Maybe a little something in the chat box there to let me know. How many of us set goals? On our real estate business specifically is what we're talking about. How many of us set some goals? Or feel free to just share if you've got your mics unmuted. Me, Claudia. Okay, Claudia, Maria, Patrick, share some of those goals. What were some of those goals that you had starting out the year? You can feel free to text them in the chat box. We'll just, I'll read them there, or feel free to just jump in with your mic. Some of the goals that you had for real estate. Everybody's furiously typing.
Hi, am I on?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, Maria.
Okay. So one of the things that I had made a goal for myself is to not take things personally because I tend to get emotionally involved with like the clients, and then I take it personal if somebody's not pleased or happy with something. Mm-hmm. So trying to just be more mindful that this is a job, it's a transaction, and to keep everything, kind of, it is what it is. Right. So trying to do that. And then on a more other thing is I was wanting to be more consistent. I was trying to get to a point where could I have a transaction a month? Like what does it look like to do that?
Consistency. And so since Maria is sharing with us, we're going to pick on you a little bit more. Where are you with that consistency, or what did you put in place to enable you to be able to accomplish that goal?
I feel like I've been just, honestly, it's being aware that that's what I want. And so I have been more diligent in touching base with people, going back to my sphere of influence, making phone calls or sending text or emails, or just, I think I did try to take advantage of this whole coronavirus thing and just used it as an opportunity, like, hey, just checking in on you. How's the family doing? That kind of stuff. And then not being afraid to ask for the business, like, hey, I hope you guys are happy in your home, but do you happen to know anyone? I mean, I know a lot of people are really wanting their space right now. Is there someone that that maybe is in a smaller place that would like to upsize, or is in a condo and needs to get into a home? That kind of thing. Increasing the conversation, mm-hmm. and not being afraid to ask for something, because I've heard it a million times. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive, right?
So true indeed. So how much of that was written versus kind of just maybe in your mind?
I would say a little of both. It's probably a lot more in my head than on paper, but it is something that I think I think of and do. I feel like I've been doing pretty regularly. My volume, in the last 3 months has, more than doubled what I did in the first 3 months. So I feel like that in itself kind of speaks that I'm definitely, my mindset is there. Mm-hmm. So, I probably should write it down more, but I probably did at some point. But yeah, it's more in my head, to be honest.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Very good points there that you brought up. I think one of the key ones was the consistency. Very critical and very key for us as we want to be successful in business is building that momentum. And we only get momentum by being consistent. Anyone else want to share some of the goals that you had for real estate this year, beginning of this year, and where you are now? Where's my typers? Oh, there we go. Maria's on the camera. Yeah, I'm not by myself. All right. No one else. No one else has any goals. So what I'm going to take from that is that Maria is the only one who actually has goals that were, I guess, written down. I mean, the other ones said that they were there, but I'm not actually seeing or hearing anything. And so I'm going to just kind of transition or move forward into in my point that I was asking Maria is, did she have, any of this stuff written down? Because there's some statistics out there, and, we can move numbers around however we need to necessarily move numbers around, but they say, all right, that we are 42% more likely to achieve our goals if we write them down. All right. Now, how many of us have a vision board? All right. Maybe some of us have a vision board.
Not an updated one.
Not an updated one. Felipe's in the building. I know
it was last year we did one. We all had one last year.
Right. So last year we did it. Maybe this year we didn't do it. That goes back to what Maria talked about is the consistency. Right? Mm-hmm. Maria is finding consistency in her business because she's doing it regularly. She's making the phone calls, she's sending the texts, sending the emails, asking for the business. She's planning for success, therefore she is having success, right? Patrick says, Vision PowerPoint for me. Vision PowerPoint, very good. Absolutely. So the reason why I'm talking about this and this planning for success is we're looking at a market that is on fire. It's literally on fire. Like homes are hitting the streets. Homes are hitting the streets. We're hitting the streets, I guess. Homes are hitting the market, and they're gone. Right? There are more buyers than there are homes to buy. Right? And so because of that, I was listening to a training yesterday from one of the premier lenders here in the Valley, and he was saying that for the next 4 years, because of the boom of population from the millennials aged 26 to 32. It's the highest or largest population we've ever seen for any age group that size. He said for the next 4 years, we are predicting a great real estate market. Okay? So when we think about the next couple of years are looking great. So those are the skeptics who don't know and it's going to flop and it's going to, the bubble's going to burst. We don't see that happening, right? So because we don't see that happening, we're going to plan to be the next 3 to 5, 6 years of our careers to maybe be the best years ever of our careers, right? In order for that to happen, we have to have a plan in place, right? So what is our plan? How many of you as agents have a weekly written calendar? Just anybody, you can put a yes in the chat box. Maybe we don't know what that looks like, so let's just try and see. So maybe I was like, what does a written calendar look? I'm going to show you real quick. The chat box is kind of blowing up a little. Maybe 25%. Patrick says yes. Work with me, Zoom. Here we go. We're going to do a new share. I'm going to share this guy right here. All right. You should be able to see a calendar on the screen, right?
Yep.
Now this calendar, it's mine. I write this almost weekly. Almost weekly, I write this calendar, and I want to talk a little bit about this calendar, because if I don't write it down, for me it doesn't happen. I want to be that percentage of people that is 42% more likely to succeed, right, by writing it down. So as we can see, if we look at this calendar here, let me just pull that page up so that I can see it, because I've got a lot on my screen over here. We see we're time blocking, right? And in time blocking, certain things are going to get done. I don't see anything, Maria says. You don't see anything, Maria?
Oh, I see your screen. I see the calendar opened up. I don't know if.
I don't know what you can see a whole calendar, right? It should start.
Yeah, I see it. Maria, on the top of your screen, there's a little button that says View Options. Make sure that it says that you are viewing David Brodin's screen.
Yes.
It should be highlighted in green. In the middle, kind of. Maybe hover your mouse over there.
It says I am viewing David's screen, but all I see on here, it says iPhone.
All you see is iPhone? Oh, okay. So your
view.
You're viewing the on. There should be a little box somewhere in your screen that you can.
Top right hand corner is where it should be.
Yeah.
To do what?
Just click on one of those little icons that has like multiple boxes on there.
Okay, multiple boxes.
Well, here, I'm going to FaceTime you real quick. So on the side, but David, keep going if you want. I'm going to call her.
Okay.
All right. So here you can see we've blocked off some time. So the day typically starts with some scripting. All right. I've got a book that I'm reading, the Yes book by Kevin Ward, the Book of Yes, they call it. And that's typically how I like to start my day. I like to start my day with some scripting. You can see that we've got some business meetings. After that, we're starting here on Monday. My company, we do a budget meeting as well. I've got some written goals there. This is actually taken from January. I just snapped a picture of my January calendar of kind of what was happening for me in January and what that was looking like. Okay, now this is adjusted. Because of COVID, my calendar, I actually went back and again, the consistency is key, what Maria talked about. There was 1 month, the week of May the 25th to May the 31st. Like, I mean, I'm honest with everybody. I'm kind of transparent. Look at that. Like, there's nothing on there. It's just blank. Like, nothing at all happened. I forgot to write it down. Now, I've got an accountability partner, and that's Anthony Camus. And he and I, what we try to do is on Sunday evenings, we text each other our calendar. Why? Because that forces me to write the calendar and to plan the week. If I don't plan the week, almost anything can happen, right? I'll get a phone call from a prospective client. I'll have a family member that needs an emergency, or anything could happen in the week where I don't get accomplished the things that need to be done for me to be successful in business, right? So I need to plan this out. So then the question that I would have to ask you is, what should your calendar look like? Because everyone has a different idea of what you're looking for in your business, right? Now, in order for us to be successful in real estate, what is the number one thing that we should be doing? To be successful in real estate, what's the number one thing that we should be doing every day?
Prospecting.
I don't know. Answering your phone, checking your emails.
Prospecting.
And it seems that Rebecca has joined us. Thank you so much. Talking to people. Absolutely. So
Oh, I'm not on mute.
let's follow that up with another question is, how many hours a day do you spend, right in the chat box, feel free to share, do you spend prospecting or talking to people about real estate? About real estate. How many hours?
This is where you lose everybody.
Everybody's getting quiet, you know, the room is
Yeah.
inside.
I think it's the internet. I lost you.
For sure. How many hours? Somebody talk to me.
Uh-oh.
Prospect. Yes, Patrick, but how many hours? Okay, how many minutes? How many minutes a day do you spend prospecting? All right, that's the big question, right? So, you know, there's some different scenarios out there, but what I'd like to share with you, now you've seen my calendar. Now let's just say that I don't know what I'm talking about, right? So let's just maybe go to some other professionals out there who have got some ideas on what it should look like. So I'm going to share another screen with you. And this right here is just a template of maybe what your calendar should look like with real estate. Everybody can see my green screen there that we're sharing, right? Everybody there? We're going to spend a little bit of time here this morning because I think this is the critical piece. This whole purpose of today's training is planning, and planning for success. Because a lot of business is going to happen in the next several years in real estate. Some agents will wash out. Other agents will thrive enormously. And we want to make sure that you're in that group that's thriving. And so we're going to equip you to do that. So let's look at this calendar right here. Now you saw my calendar, but I like this template. And maybe you should go ahead and take a screenshot of this. We can also, this will be recorded. So go back to the recording on YouTube once we upload this. But let's look at how the 5%, this is the 5% of the most successful real estate agents. This is what their calendars look like, okay? So I'm not in the top 5%. So, okay, we started with me. Okay, that's a little good, a decent start. But let's look at the 5%. They start their day at 8 a.m. What time do you typically start your real estate day, your day in work? Right? Now, maybe that's a rhetorical question, I should say, because I don't want to lose anybody else. All right. What time do you start your day? Do you start your day at 8 o'clock? Do you start your day at 10 o'clock? Does your day start just when the phone rings, right? Ask yourself that question. having a written calendar and staying like these 5% do right here. 8 o'clock to 8:30, what are they doing? They're lead generation prep. They're looking over their scripts that they're going to go over, so they're scripting quite possibly in the office there. Maria says, can you email me that about 9:30? I'm walking in the morning. I know Maria's got a pretty solid schedule over there. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, I'll email this out to everybody. Okay? It'll just be a follow-up for what came out for the class itself. So it says right there, materials, role play, distractions eliminated. So when they come into the office, it's push out the distractions. What am I focused on today? Because this is the most important part of your day, is these next couple of hours. The most important part of your day. So they come in and they do a little bit of scripting. How many of us are actively role-playing or scripting on a daily basis? Okay, of course, Patrick, there we go. All right, Patrick is role-playing or scripting every day. Very good. This is critical. You know, it's interesting because there's a coach that I was listening to, and I won't call his name out. He was like, scripting is, I don't even know why agents script. That's just a waste of time. But one of the really great coaches, Mike Ferry, says that you should be scripting every day. Now, I trust Mike. He's been in this for a long, long time. He's an agent himself for a long, long time. Scripting is key. It's enabling us to be able to better have the conversation so that when we're speaking to someone, we're confident. When we get an objection, how are we able to handle that objection? We don't see these objections every day. So if we don't practice them, and I sit down with a client, right? And they throw the commission objection at me, or I need to sleep on it objection at me, how do I handle that? Have I practiced that conversation? And if I have practiced it, I'm going to come off very confident, very composed, and they're going to sit back and be confident in what I'm going to be able to do for them. But again, if I didn't practice, how am I going to be good? You know, we go back to, you know, superstar athletes. You know, how often do they practice? Every day. You know, Kobe Bryant's at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, right? Every day. I'm watching the Last Dance with the Michael Jordan, you know, whole thing. I'm watching a little bit of that. And, you know, this dude, he didn't make the varsity team his sophomore year, right? So what did he do that summer? He practiced harder than he ever did. So his junior year, he made the varsity team. He didn't say, oh, I guess I didn't make it. I'll just try again next year, see what happens. You and I have to script. We have to role play. It's critical in our business. You have something you want to share, Felipe? No? Okay.
I was saying hi to Claudia. She jumped on the call, but you know, you're absolutely right. And I think we lose a lot of agents when we start talking about scripting, because they automatically assume that it means you have to be robotic and you have to practice every single day. And realistically, we don't have that time. So when David is referring to this schedule, think of it as a business schedule that as long as you have and you mentally prepare yourself for the day and you say, every day I have to be in at 9, or I have to be up in my home at 9, and I'm in work mode, right? As they shut the door on Maria because she's in work mode, right? But you know, you don't have to per se practice the scripts every single day, but will you be better if you do? Absolutely. Absolutely. So yesterday I was in Temecula and Andrea is getting ready for a listing appointment on Friday. And she said, okay, cool. So I'm going over with her. We're going over everything. I said, you know, have you done the pre-listing script with this client? Because that seals the deal right there, and it answers all of your questions. And she was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. So I sent her the pre-listing script, and it's very simple. You know, it's just something that the more you practice, the better you become at it. And all you're doing is you're not being robotic. You're just picking up the phone and saying, hey, how's it going? I just want to confirm our appointment for tomorrow. In order for me to be extremely prepared, I wanted to make sure and ask just a couple questions. Do you have 2 minutes real quick? Yes. What are they going to say? No. And then you go right into it. And so that takes care of that. So practicing, but you know, distraction elimination is a huge part of our business. You know, I'm sitting here in the office right now and I'm I'm like the squirrel. I'm doing this every 5 seconds because I get distractions. But, you know, you need to focus and set a schedule for yourself to become better realtors. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, we need to take this guy right here. Like when you come to work in the morning, and you need to take it and just turn it upside down, you know?
Put it down.
On what you're doing. Because I fall into the same box, like my phone, and so I look over. And I literally have to tell myself, I'm working on a project, like get that done. That can wait, right? So eliminate distraction. So let's get past that. Let's get into the 8:30 to 11 a.m. This is the golden hours. is what the top 5% call the golden. This is lead generation. This is what, it's kind of cool that they have this little funnel that you see on there and the little balls are falling in. You see that there on the screen? They're filling their pipeline. If we don't continue to pour into our pipeline, what's in there will run out and then it's dry. And they say, this was on a training that I was on last week, it takes 16.7 months. This is insanity, right? This is NAR. 16.7 months from when someone first thinks about buying a house to when they close a transaction to purchase a home. That's when they first think about it. So when you start talking to these people, they're still several months out, because when you talk to them, you're already like 4 months into it, but they're several months out before they close on that transaction, right? So we need to continually fill our pipeline. And what are we doing for lead generation? So throw at me, you guys, what are you currently doing for some lead generation? I know we've got COVID going on, so maybe there's some tips that some of us who are in the training today can glean from some of the other ones as well. What are you doing to lead generate right now?
And I'm going to start off with what I text everybody this morning, just simple follow-up. You know, following up with people, just checking in is the easy. I mean, I do it with the agents. I've been trying to check in with as many agents as I can, and just checking in with your past clients, even friends and family, is a great conversation starter. So I'm going to throw that one out there.
Thank you. Yes. Follow up, friends and family, sphere of influence. What else we got? Talk to me.
So I had my last few closings that I did, especially the 2 condos that I was referred to, you know, from property management. What I did is, as I was completing my stuff and then sending out a little gift, I went ahead and I put in the little note, like, you know, I've really enjoyed working with her, and if she knows of anyone else in the area that I could potentially help, I would really appreciate any referrals, you know, because she's out of state, but she used to have a life here, you know. And so she like called me right back, and she was like, oh my gosh, of course, you know, like, so I think it's, you know, tagging on to what I said earlier, it's not being afraid to ask for the business, like ask for it. Every time you finish something, you know, say thanks, and then say, do you know a friend or a family that I could be of help to?
That's great.
Fantastic. You know, what I got from there is one of the key things. I've got a list that I kind of stole from online for some prospecting that, of course, we can be doing. But one of the ones that Maria hit on, we talked about it in past week, is she wrote them a note, and then she asked for the business. So handwritten notes are great right now. When we're not able to maybe do some of the door knocking that we did in the past, those handwritten notes are just going so far. So those are great as well. Anyone else? What are you doing right now for prospecting? Is there anything that you kind of decided this is a great opportunity, this is something new that I can try because of COVID, or is there something that you've been doing for a long time that you just found success that you want to share with us here in the training this morning? You know, as you all are thinking, you know, prospecting, we're talking about prospecting, and I'll share this. It's passive prospecting, but it works. Now, we see that the offices are, for the most part, closed, but the up desk is a great place to prospect right now. It's yesterday evening, as I started at the beginning of the call, yesterday evening, 5:30, got a call from a Spanish-speaking guy. He was from Escondido, looking to buy a home in Menifee. So he's already getting pre-approved. We're working on that right now. That's an up desk call. Right now, I have an escrow that we just opened on Friday from a rental up desk call a month ago there at the office. All right? So we see that it was a rental, converted to a buyer, and we're in escrow. So another place to be prospecting. We're here in Temecula right now, and it's myself, and I know Chris Holden's here. So the offices, if you guys are willing to go out there and you're able to, hey, I would encourage you to the phones are ringing, and so that's a great place to prospect as well. If you're on the social media platforms, any social media platforms, continuing to provide content there. Live videos, Facebook ads. We talked about this. I don't know. We're still in the process of building one, but the seller seminar, or maybe a first-time buyer seminar, that's something else that you can do. I'm telling you, that's going to get you business. When you inform, because people are misinformed. I was on another training. I don't know which one. It was too many trainings, but someone was saying, oh, it was yesterday. It was actually yesterday's meeting where the lady was saying, like, that came from New York Life. She was saying that she got her house refinanced because I think it was her brother told her that rates were really low. So people just aren't informed. And so when we inform them, that now is a great time to buy or sell, that's gonna generate business for us. So lead gen, we're looking at the schedule here, going back to that 8:30 to 11 a.m. is the schedule. So what we're saying here is maybe not necessarily that exact time frame, but how many hours is that? Can someone add up those hours for me? How many hours?
Only 3 hours, right? What, 8 to 11? 3 hours?
8:30 to 11. So anyway,
8:30.
2.5 to 3 hours a day. When was the last time you prospected for 3 hours in a day? Ask yourself that question. Rhetorical, of course. Don't answer out loud. All right. 3 hours a day. So how many hours is that a week on a 5-day work week?
15.
15 hours, right? That's more than a third of your work week is spent prospecting. Do we spend more than a third of our work week prospecting? If we are not, then I would encourage us to add more time into our week for prospecting. That is what's going to generate more business. And I know there's agents out there that, you close 4 or 5 deals in a year, and that's good for you. It's a part-time business. There's others like myself, maybe I can only speak for myself, who, if I'm not closing, like 12, 15, 20, we didn't do as well as we could have probably done, right? We're pushing ourselves. And I'm sharing some things that might be uncomfortable for you, but realistically, some of us need to get out of our comfort zone. And so I have to speak to everyone here. There's the agent that's comfortable with what you're doing, but then there's some that need to be spoken to, say, hey, go a little further, do a little more, because the results are going to be there when you move forward, right? When you actually do that lead generation. And there's a couple of different ways you can get out there. You can actually, for the FSBOs, for the expired, you can purchase databases to be able to call them, so you don't have to go knock on doors as well. You can be doing some geo farming. Maybe you don't have a newsletter. It's another opportunity for you as far as prospecting. You live in a community. Is there a community newsletter going out telling your community what's going on in real estate? Because if there's not one going out every single month to the 150, 200 homes, whatever it is that you live around, that's you. There's a space for you right now to create a monthly newsletter. We have a marketing team. They're ready to rock and roll with you. Talk to Gabby. She made a whole magazine. All right. So there's some agents out there who are willing, I'm sure, to help you. We're willing to help you in any way that we can. Put out a monthly newsletter. That's going to be your community. Hopefully they know you're there. If they don't, now they know you're there. They know that you're the expert in the community. That's another opportunity for some lead generation. And these are things that you do in the morning. Again, lead generation does not have to be cold calling, right? Just understand it does not have to be door knocking. Lead generation can be putting together a really good video piece that you're sharing via your social media platforms. So come in the morning, spend 2 hours building it, putting it all together, working with the team, whether it's marketing or whoever's on your team, and then putting that out, right? That could be a day, a project that you're working on for a week. Any of these things can be lead generation, but let's make sure that we're doing something, we're spending those hours, because that's what's going to fill the funnel, fill the pipe, and then guess what? They're going to start falling out. And it's a whole lot of fun when they start falling out. Maria, how do you feel that you're a little bit more consistent in your real estate business versus when it wasn't consistent? What's your rating on your business now? How do you feel?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say that I've mastered consistency by any means, but I think it's more in my mindset that, every day now I'm like going, oh shoot, I didn't make calls today. Oh darn, I didn't get out those notes today. I know I need to get better. I've been through the whole time blocking thing, and I know I probably would do well because I tend to have that kind of anal personality of having the certain things a certain day. So I think for me, my upset is I've still got a lot of stuff at the office. So between the Marriott office and home, I'm like, oh shoot, I left that at the office, so it's like, I think I need to kind of divide some of my stuff so that I'm not using that as an excuse, like, oh, I left that at the office, I'll take care of that tomorrow, but I honestly think for me, it's just my mindset. It's like I'm waking up every day, I'm doing my walk, and in my walk, I'm processing things I need to do from a personal aspect, but I'm also like, okay, what's the schedule for today? What am I doing? Who am I intending on contacting? And I know Felipe is going to want me to do this too, is I'm not tracking. It's like it's more in my mindset, and I know I'm doing things, but I can't say that I have this list where it's like check, 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 or like knowing what I did, whether it was yesterday or last week. I don't know. I'm just doing it because it's in my head, but I'm not tracking it. So I know, shame on me, slap my hand.
No, Maria, you're doing a fantastic job. And the fact that you're doing it, and of course, we're all growing. So remember the fact that we're all growing. We're not a full grown tree yet, right? Maybe some of us are. But as we continue to grow, we continue to learn and build our business. So Maria, she's making the phone calls, right? So the next step for her is going to just be able to track it, because then she can see her numbers, right? But until she starts making the phone calls, there's nothing to even track. So fantastic. Kudos to Maria for making the phone calls, because her business is thriving now and will continue to do that as long as she's consistent. I'm not sure if any of you have read a book by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect. If you haven't read that book, it's one that I highly recommend. And he talks about just being consistent is the whole theme of that book, and the results that come from being consistent. You're not going to do 12 deals your first year quite if you just got into the business, but if you consistently do the same thing, you will do 5 or 6, then 10 or 15, and then the sky's the limit as you continually put into place that structure rather, to be able to have a successful business. Again, we're business owners. There's a lot that you're juggling as a business owner. Like, you're doing marketing, you're doing lead gen, you're working the business itself, all of these things you're doing. So there's a lot to juggle, which is critical why, again, we have this daily schedule. So now that we've gotten past the lead gen and the scripting and all that, I love what they put right here. 11 to 12, it says, respond to emails, text, calls, and service listing buyers and pending transactions. What that told me is they didn't open their email when they started the morning. Because when you open those emails up, now my brain is over here, oh, that's right, I got to take care of that. And so that can sidetrack you from what needs to be done, which is the first thing in the morning, which is scripting and, more importantly, lead generation, right? So leaving the emails till later. 11, 12 o'clock, you're still getting to them before lunch. So it's a great time right there to kind of dive in there after we've spent some time getting new business for the day. Because remember, we always go into the mindset in real estate is we start the day off at 0. So if I start the day off with 0 clients, I have nothing in the bank, and I go and I produce a couple of leads, right? Now I've got something that's incubating. Now I can move on to those emails and those text messages. Too often, I know many of us, we start our day just right here on the screen, right? We're checking emails and responding to text messages, and leave that for later in the day, what they're recommending here. Of course, there should always be time for lunch. Always time to eat. All right, so of course we have a social distance world now. I'll just interject this piece in the future. Someone always told me never eat alone. All right, so if you're ever having lunch, never have lunch by yourself. If you're not having lunch with a family member during your lunch hour, invite someone out to lunch, whoever that may be, a past client, a future client, Felipe. All right, invite someone out to lunch, make it a business appointment. Write that sucker off, because we can do that. All right. So never eat lunch by yourself. Take a lunch break. It says from work, eat with a friend, spouse, or a coworker. And I would dare to say again, with a future business prospect, past client, nurturing those relationships. People love to be invited out for lunch. I know if anybody, I'll raise my hand too. You want to invite me out for lunch? Let me know. We'll sit, distance apart from each other in the open air, so we'll all be safe. All right. Jumping back over, after we finish lunch, we come back to work. 1 to 2 p.m. is lead conversion. Okay. So what's it say there? It says follow up with potential listings and buyer leads that have already been generated and convert to appointments. So maybe this is yesterday's person that you talked to. Maybe they called you or whatever's going on or texted you. Follow up with that lead generation that you've already begun. All right. You can see the whole first half of your day is really focusing on leads and then a little bit of servicing your business. That's really the thrust of the first half of your day, the most of your day. It's not till you get to that 2, 3 o'clock and then onward where we have some more servicing of the business. You see, you may have got some responses to some emails that you sent out early in the morning. Or rather late in the morning. You respond to those. That 2 to 3 hour window is what they've given us there. And then the 3 to 6 o'clock hour is when we go out and show property and do listing appointments and so forth. Leaving all of that for later in the day. Why? Because most people are at work anyway. So we leave that for the latter half of our day. And then that allows us to have a balanced life. Because from 6 o'clock on, what does it say? Personal and family time. Because many of you, maybe like myself, it's like, oh, I'm working so much and I don't have time for maybe my family. Like maybe if you're Maria and you're a mother, a wife, you've got maybe cooked meals and so on and so forth. How do you do that and your business when you're working until 8 o'clock at night possibly? It just can't happen. So again, this helps us to create balance in our business. There's one thing on here that is not mentioned in this calendar, and I think it's very critical for all of us. It says lead generation and prep. We've got lead generation. We've got some business servicing, some more lead gen, some business servicing. There's one critical piece that's missing on here that I want to make sure that you all are paying attention to. And this is not for me, all right? And I can just tell you how it's benefited me, but training. There has to be a place in your routine where you are consistently getting training, personal growth and development in real estate. Why? Because the industry changes on a regular basis. Like COVID showed up and there was all these new disclosures that we had to learn. So structuring in a time at least once a week where you spend an hour or two training. Now I'm very fortunate as the director of training now because I'm constantly training myself, right? I have nothing to give you all if I don't continually train myself. I'm gonna run out. My funnel will run out if I don't continually pour into it, right? So I encourage you as well, don't just rely solely on myself or Felipe, but have some consistent training weekly. And this is the way that I'll share it, okay? Because I was that agent too. Right? We've all been there. I was like, I'm like 3 years in, don't really go to trainings anymore because I kind of feel, no, there's not a whole lot I can learn there, right? I mean, that just happens to all of us. I got better things to do with my time. This is important. I got this buyer that I have to show properties to, right? Like that happens to all of us. But what ends up happening if we don't continually train ourselves is we don't stay sharp. And we want to stay sharp in this industry. We want to be able to have the most relevant information for what's happening. And the only way we can do that is if we are doing some form, maybe your training is reading the car magazine. I don't know. But whatever it is, make sure that you are doing some form of training weekly to sharpen your tools. All right? Sharpen your tools, guys. Any questions or any comments or anything that I've been sharing this morning?
So we've been preaching about it, but sharpening the tools means scripting, getting your listing script ready, getting your pre-listing script ready, getting a presentation ready. Just because you didn't sign up for our friendly competition that we're having as a team doesn't mean that you shouldn't be prepping yourself. I mean, I just hope that everybody takes the time during this whole pandemic, while we're at home, have your presentations prepared, because the last thing you want to do is have an appointment tomorrow and find out, I don't know what to do, right? So we that's just an excuse now. We should have all the time in the world to prep ourselves and, script, practice, and just try to come up with a presentation and have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Felipe brought up some great points right there. I was in another training and they did like a little poll on Zoom. And the poll was, it was like, there were 4 questions of like, how prepared is a real estate agent when they go on a listing presentation? And one of the answers, the options was they just wing it, all right? So there were 4 possible answers, and one was they wing it. I don't remember, there were 20 maybe people in the training. 85% was the answer for they just wing it. Like, that's the mentality that real estate agents see. Maybe that they were answering for themselves or they just see what agents do, they wing it. I was talking to Richard Garcia and he said that he was sitting down one time doing a transaction and they come into a conference room and the clients were not in the room yet. And the other agent leans over to him and says, I have no idea what I'm doing. And he says, don't worry, I'll get you through. So obviously it was a buyer seller kind of deal going on. Don't be the agent that's sitting at the table that has no idea what's going on and winging it. There's too much at stake. And the opportunity there for you to learn and to be equipped is right here in your hand. Me and Felipe, we talked about this when we left The event for C21 in LA in February is we want you guys to be the most equipped agents in the Valley. So we're here to provide all of that for you, which is why we give you what we give you on these trainings so that you can be the most successful. When you're submitting offers and you check all your boxes, we got our offer accepted on last Friday. There was no counter of any kind. They told us your offer is super clean. Every box was checked. You know what the seller had to do? Sign on the line. Sign on the line. And you're done. The other was, oh, they forgot this box. We've got to send a counter here. Nobody wants that. And when you guys come to trainings and you sharpen your tools, you're going to have the same thing happen to you. They're going to sign on the line. Your offer is going to get accepted, or you're going to do a listing presentation. They're going to say, oh my goodness, I'm completely blown away. Like, I wish the other agent was as good as you. Where do I sign? Right? That's what we're looking for. That's what I've got today for everybody in regards to writing a schedule for planning to be successful. I'm not 100% at it either yet. But again, for me, it's writing down the calendar weekly. Having an accountability partner, someone that I can go to and says, hey, where's your calendar for the week? Again, mine's Anthony Camus. Where's your calendar for the week? Did you write out what this week looks like, or are you just going to wing it? And so, of course, the goal is never to wing it. The goal is to be absolutely thoroughly prepared. Any questions, any comments, anything that you want to share with us, anybody in the room?
Yeah, David, can we send that daily schedule sample out to everybody?
Yep, I got that. So I will send that out to everybody. So we're going to close today. I got a cool little nugget. Now, maybe you know about this and maybe you don't. I had no idea. My wife actually asked me, she says, is there an app for zip forms? And I was like, I don't know. There's an app for zip forms. And I want to show it to you guys real quick. I should be able to share this. Let's see if it works. How do I need to install this? Give us a second. See if my plugin will work. Because I want to be able to show it to you. It's on my
Hey, while you're doing that, David, I also like the app that Richard brought up yesterday that you can share your contact just by tapping the phone. So that was a really cool nugget too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm on Wi-Fi. Okay. I don't think I can share it, guys, because I'm on the wrong Wi-Fi and I don't know. Actually, I'm on the right Wi-Fi. So.
Love technology.
Oh, here it is. Here we go. Screen sharing. Right, here we go.
Maria, stop it. You're yawning. You're making me yawn.
Okay.
Stop it.
All right. There we go. Good. You can see my screen, right? Yes, you can. I don't feel like I don't know what I'm doing. We figured it out, guys. All right. That's always the worst when you're doing training. You can't get your technology to work. Boom. ZipForm Mobile. You see that right there? ZipForm Mobile. I'm not sure if you've seen this. So that's why if you've seen it, then, hey, continue using it. I didn't even know this app existed. All right. But it's ZipForms on your phone or tablet. And it's a little slow. I will say it's a little slow, but it's everything you need. So I was literally like sitting at the bank at the drive up and I needed to send a form. You know what I did? I downloaded this app and it looks exactly like the zip forms that you're comfortable and familiar with. So then I'll just simply go to that client right there. I'll tap the little box. You can see all the little tabs are there like you're familiar with. You'll see it brings up all the information. It's got ads just like the other one does. You tap the little gray arrow up here. I go to my documents. All my documents pop up just like that right there. So everything is right there. I mean, it's just, and it looks crisp. Like, so if I go ahead and let's just pull up my purchase agreement, it's going to load my purchase agreement for me. Like I said, I didn't know this app existed. And you can go through and you can fill out everything. You can send it via the DocuSign, the whole thing. Everything is right here on this app. They did a really good job from what I can see. When you go back and you need to add any of the forms, the little blue button is the same as you're used to. I'm sorry, wrong one. Add forms, the little blue button there. Same as you're used to. Anything you type in, you can just type it in right there. If I need to add an addendum, whatever the case may be, this works just like ZipForms. So if you're comfortable and familiar with ZipForms, this app, just go ahead and download it to your phone. On the go, you can do anything that you were doing on Zip Forms prior. For me, it was always let me stop and open my laptop and complete something.
Mhm. Yeah.
I needed to fill out a simple zip, a SIP, seller in possession. I went on here and I was like, okay, because it's actually this file right here. I went to the seller in possession, as you'll see right there. I downloaded it real quick from the files. I went on there. All I had to do was put in a date. And of course you can zoom in. You can see what everything looks like there. I can zoom in, all that. I put in the date that I needed. Everything else was already populated. I hit the e-sign button in the top left-hand corner. It opened up my DocuSign, which was integrated already into my zip form because everything is there. And I sent it sitting at the bank. I mean, it was great. So the agents are just like, boom, they're getting everything they need right then. That's us being able to. What's that?
It's very nice. You didn't know
awesome.
that.
Yes, I didn't even know it existed. I told Anthony about it last week, and he was like, what? Show it to me. So I was like, if I didn't know, and maybe Anthony didn't know, maybe there's other agents that didn't know, so let me make sure that I share what I found out as well. Taking a call from my pastor. Hang on, we'll call back later. So I wanted to just end our training with this right here. If you don't have the app, again, let me just zoom out of that. It's ZipForm Mobile. ZipForm Mobile. I can't zoom in on that screen. All right. But go ahead and download that. It's your same credentials. When you sign up, now there's going to ask, when you sign up, there's two credentials. There's credentials for ZipForm or CAR. Make sure you use your CAR credentials, because when I first tried to log in, it didn't work. So there's two places when you download the app. Log in for the CAR credentials, and whatever you use to log in for CAR is going to be the same thing here. It'll populate everything for you. You're ready to rock and roll. All of your files are right there, a touch of a fingertip away on your phones. All right? So that's that right there. Nara says, nice. Claudia, thanks for sharing. Maria, totally cool. All right. So that's all we've got for today. Any questions, any comments, any feedback you guys want to give us for any of the other agents here, something that I can learn, something that you're working with, share. We still got a couple minutes.
I just have something. I haven't actually done it yet, but I was talking with Patty with First American, and she was kind of encouraging that, right now, because we're so limited on actually being able to like do the door-to-door and all that kind of stuff, she was saying that now is the time to not only do those personal notes and stuff, but don't be afraid to spend that little bit of money in mail marketing. Even if you can only do 50 houses or 200 houses or whatever, pick something, even if it's in your local neighborhood or whatever, and start doing something consistently. If it's every week for this next month or every other week for the next 2 months, she was kind of encouraging that, like right now, we're not spending as much money on some of the other things, so maybe just redirect it into something. And so I was thinking, wow, I needed to hear that, because I have a listing coming up in my own neighborhood. I've lived here for 24 years, been a real estate agent for over 8, and I've had maybe just a couple of listings in my own neighborhood. And every time there's another sign that goes up, I'm thinking, crap, I missed another one. And so when she said that to me, and I just met with her, a few weeks ago, and I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to use this new listing as my takeoff. So that listing should be coming up this next week or so. And so I was thinking, if I put together a little something, so I'm going to meet with Chris and kind of put a little something together that I can market, like new home up for sale, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, okay, that's going to be my takeoff point, with a new listing in my neighborhood, that I'm going to start doing that. I thought, why wouldn't I? So anyway, just a thought.
No, and Maria, that's fantastic, because I know that you even created the flyer from before. You work with like the 55 and over community. Maria's done some great work as well herself, is kind of creating those pieces. So I'm excited to see what you're going to come up with. I saw one of my neighbors walking down the street, and he was like, hey, are you the guy with the open house signs? And I was like, yeah. And he says, oh man, keep it up. And, of course, I haven't been open house signs for a long time. But I told him, I said, we're going to do a monthly newsletter. And so that's, this training right here is going to encourage me to get that out, because like you said, you live in a community for a long time, and you see these signs go up, and you're like, what's going on? And there's something that I read, and it was, there's two types of real estate agents. So there's the default agent, who's successful by default because you've lived in a community your whole life, and so everybody knows you. So then they send you business. And then there's the agent by design. And that's the agent that puts together a marketing plan and a business plan that produces success. Because like myself, I'm not from California, so I had to learn and meet and all of that as I was in a new community. Now, if I went back to Flint, Michigan, of course, the chances of me being successful are greater because I know people. I'm born and raised there. But if you're not born and raised in a place and already know everybody, we can't do business by default. We have to do business by design. And so let's make sure that we have a solid design plan in place so that, of course, we are successful in the upcoming months and years. All right? Any closing thoughts, anybody? Felipe, any of the agents? If not, we're going to wrap it up. Let you guys get back to your business.
I pulled out the old Mike Ferry scripts. I got a lot of them. So one of the things I was thinking of, right now, I was hoping that by me saying I'm paying $500 to somebody for their dues would really motivate people to do this. And I think I just lost you guys. Let's see.
No, we're here.
Oh, you're there.
Yeah.
But it's sad because there's so much opportunity right now. We just have to be willing to do it. And I'm going to email the entire company, but there's a just sold script. The market's hot right now and we know that we need listings. So, I know that a lot of people don't like to cold call, but something as simple as, hey, my name's Felipe with Century 20 Preferred. I don't know if you realize we just sold the house on 123 Main Street, which is kind of in your neighborhood. We know when somebody sells a house, usually one or two, sell right away, or at least you have maybe some possible questions regarding real estate. So I wanted to ask if there's anything I can do to assist you. That's a simple phone call script. I kind of picked it apart from the Mike Ferry one. And I mean, you would be amazed at how many conversations you can start having. But the reality is just, a lot of us, we're afraid we don't want to make those calls. So David, maybe we got to look at redoing that, getting a list of phone numbers. We have houses that we've sold as a company. You guys can pick up the phone. We can dial together. We can start making some calls if you're interested. But I'm telling you, there's so many agents out there, but how many are actually doing something like this? It's a great way to get business right now. Okay. So anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. There's a ton of business to be had. Felipe hit the nail right there on the head. So let's just make sure we go out and we get it. The homes are going to sell. All right. The question is, who are they going to sell with? Right. So let's make sure that they're selling with us. All right. You guys have a great rest of your week here, the rest of your day. We will see you next Thursday for some more training. All right. Any questions, comments? Give us a call. Shoot us an email or a text.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.